It's about being the first person to report something on something. It doesn't really matter if the facts are there. It doesn't matter if it's factual. It just has to be something that brings in the ratings. And we saw that when I was out in Iraq, because there was actually several news stories done by Yahoo News that was out there through affiliated press that was saying that my unit was like throwing grenades into buses for Ramadan, bringing women and children up to do the holy migration and all that bullshit. Because something happened, there was an IED that went off that hit my soldiers and also hit a bus full of women and children, and they blamed the American military on throwing grenades in there. So when it comes to the media, if it gets attention, then it gets news. The problem is that when every single thing that you report is the new pandemic, it's the end of the world, it's the sky's falling over and over and over and over and over, you need to go bigger and broader and bolder every time, or else it's going to fall flat on its face. And I have never seen the world's, now China was the number one economy for a while. The United States and then this again, this the stats and the information that I've received on my end. So if you differ from my facts, let me know. But from what I've collected from multiple sources is that under the Trump administration, the United States with its economy has taken the number one spot again when it comes to several demographics of the economy. And so I have never seen a virus or a disease stop the world's largest economy almost immediately. I mean, it was like this. And I think that it has been made as a weapon against the Trump administration. And I am not a raving fan of the dude. I think the dude needs to shut his mouth, get off of Twitter, and do his job. And that is how I feel with this guy. I am not a celebrity starstruck person. I want someone with a business background to manage the country. I think that's what we need. We need a non-career politician in there. I don't care about the antics. I don't care about the drama. I don't care about any of that shit. It doesn't matter. I want the country to go in the right direction. And so I think that this has been blown out of proportion because it is the only chance in hell that the Democratic Party has to get back into the White House.
Right. And I feel the same way about Trump. He's like the Peter Griffin of all of our presidents. He's the lovable idiot that's also the best of our options. At least
right? I agree with you. I mean, I would rather see, what's that? That big conservative Jewish guy that speaks quiet. Shapiro. I would rather see Ben Shapiro in office than Donald Trump. In my opinion, I'm a big Ben Shapiro fan. I don't know how your thoughts are on him, but I think that we need somebody more like that. But again, when it comes to, and you could be like, oh, we don't need a government and get away from the system and get away from the republic. I mean, yeah, that's cool. That's a cool pipe dream. The problem is that right now we have two parties. The two-party system is broken. The two-party system is completely broken. There needs to be more independent and there needs to be more libertarian. There needs to be more constitutionalists. They need to have equal representation because the Democrat and the Republican parties are completely broken, in my opinion.
Well, I guess another thing that we both need to consider is that even if we get the right guy or gal, in this politically correct year of 2020 in the office, that's only at the very minimum a third of the equation. We still have the other two branches of the government to deal with.
Correct.
And
correct.
I remember I've thought about even if let's say we have a small government president in office, but if he can't get along with all the other two branches, then how do you expect anything to really get done?
The checks and balances system of the three branches that was put in effect to make sure that one political party would not have enough. But however, if you have and again, this is just based on the data that I have. So if you have anything that's contrary, please let me know. Because again, it doesn't mean that the data that I know is right. I don't know. This is what I have. But from what I know as of right now, at the Supreme Court level, we have right-leaning. We have right-leaning in the Supreme Court level. When it comes to the executive branch, we have a right-leaning. When it comes to Congress, we have a right leaning. When it comes to the House of Representatives, that's where the House of Representatives is a major left leaning branch. And so obviously, in my perfect world, I would love to have a constitutionalist or a libertarian come in with a right leaning government or right leaning branches. Would probably be the most productive, because when it comes to the left leaning, when it comes to the Democratic Party, they are splintered. And the way that I see the Democratic Party going is going to be the Democratic, and it's going to split to the Democratic Socialist. I think that the Democratic Party is going to split into two parties after this Bernie Sanders issue.
Well, I think just the left entirely, and this can apply to even political scenes in developed countries, even beyond, well, even undeveloped countries,
Okay.
is that the only thing that joined as left together is the concept of free money from the government at the expense of people who pay taxes. So, like, for example, like what exactly do the LGBT and all the racial identity groups, feminist groups, other social justice, whatever social justice stew you want to stir into the pot, the only thing that's holding them together is the money they get from the government. Now, once you take that away, or once you give that to everybody, that's like the key holding all the pieces of it's like the pins holding the pieces of a caliper in a brake together. You take those out, and then they all fall apart, because obviously they disagree on who's the most oppressed out of all the competitors to the race to oppression peak. So I mean, yeah, just money talks and bullshit walks. I mean, in case that's news to anyone. So
no, I agree. I mean, it's always socialistic. Socialist ideals make a lot of sense to a lot of people until you run out of other people's money. When you start running out of other people's money, now that's where, for example, take a look at the Russian ruble, right? The Russian ruble, I mean, it was cheaper to burn money than burn wood. And they were literally burning bills to keep their homes warm because wood was too expensive, because they devaluated so much. And that is a very common thing of socialism. And so I think that right now, because again, a lot of people don't realize the United States is very young. We're a very young country. Regardless of what political identity that you align yourself with, we are a young country. We are dealing with growing pains that a lot of Middle Eastern countries have gone through and have collapsed over. And instead of learning the lessons from what they were doing, we're too worried about identity politics and appeasing the minority that we ignore the majority. And that's identity politics, because, and again, I don't know how you align, and I don't know how everybody here aligns. I'm just speaking fact. And I tell you what, I guarantee you that the minorities that are at home that have no jobs because of XYZ reason are always the loudest, because they don't have shit to do besides make a mockery out of everything. The silent majority, which is what was a huge backer of Trump, that are working, that are going out doing their thing. They don't live online 24/7. They're not in front of cameras 24/7. They don't have the time to go do all these protests. The silent majority is very underrepresented when it comes to social media, because the people that have nothing else better to do with their time besides shave their head live on camera and throw their whatever live on camera to get attention to go viral is a very skewed portion of what the country actually thinks. The problem is that politics, they pander to people that have that big social influence, that they literally disregard the will of the majority of the people in the country. That is my personal belief. I'd love to hear what your belief is on that.
Well, I'm just thinking that you do mention that there is the minorities are starting to control the majorities, and the minorities have a louder voice than the minorities.
That's my belief.
What I'm thinking, that I'm not necessarily here disagreeing with you. I'm just trying to think with you here, trying to figure out what's going on. And then why do you see in video games how, like, not just video games, just like film, arts, artistic creations, and how that molds culture? Mm-hmm. And Yeah, for movies, video games, any public artwork, all the social justice warriors are just overtaking every single aspect of it. And interestingly enough, it seems like from what I observe at this moment, it seems like that they somehow stole everyone's voices within a short period of time, and now they're in control of the majority.
That's a good point. And so to kind of talk to you about this point, this is my observation. So the majority of for example, Hollywood. I'm from California. I've been to Hollywood several times. I've met Arnold Schwarzenegger. I've shaken his hand. I've shaken the hand of. I've met Scarlett Johansson. I've met her. I've shaken her. I actually give her a hug. So I mean, there's again, it's not like they're my friends, but I've been exposed to that at that level. And so again, the majority. And again, this is just my opinion. This is on what I've seen in my experience. The hardworking guy is not going to end his 12-hour shift and then go on Facebook and post a bunch of, my life sucks and I'm oppressed and blah, blah. Typically, those kind of people don't do that because they're going to go home, they're going to spend time with their family, they're going to go to sleep, they're going to wake up, go back to work and bust their ass. And that is when you talk about the flyover states, when you talk about the farmers and the ranchers and all these people that are supplying literally our country with food. Is typically those guys that don't give a shit. They just don't care. That's not a part of their thing. Now, Hollywood is notorious because, first of all, as actors, that's what they do. They act. They act. That is their personality. If you go to any actor as a company, organization, whatever, and you go, "Hey, Mr. Actor, I will give you $100 million a year." Or scratch it. I'll give you $1 million a year to endorse my product. Go on camera, talk about how my product made you beautiful, made you who you are, whatever. For $1 million, would you do that? And you can't tell me that the majority of Hollywood would not do that because that's what they do. It's you come up to a straight actor. I forgot the old Joker actor. I forgot his name. That ended up committing suicide. But a producer came up with a script for a movie for X amount of dollars, and this dude, a straight dude, made out with another dude and had sex scenes with another fucking dude on camera. You cannot tell me that money did not influence that decision. I mean, I'm a straight male. There is not a dollar figure that you can put on for me to make out with another dude and have cinema sex with another dude on camera. I'm sorry. Me as an individual, I can't do that. Now, I will do a lot of shit for money. I like money. I like money a lot. But I would never do that and be exposed to a global audience at that level. Again, actors are kind of a specific breed that will do those things for money because that's their job. Their job is to be somebody other than themselves for money. And so for me, in my experience, in my opinion, is that those minorities, or excuse me, those actors are going to appeal to their fan base. And you've got people, and I don't know a lot of blue, and I'm white collar. I don't know a lot of blue collar workers that will literally lose their shit if a TV series does not go their way. For example, take the Game of Thrones issues, right? The Game of Thrones was a massively popular production, and when it did not end the way that their hardcore viewers wanted it to end, there was a literal outrage on the internet. Literal outrage on the internet based on how that series ended. And the vast majority of that were not hardworking people. They were not blue collar people. They were people that are SJWs, LGBTQ, all those people that live their life vicariously through others because they have nothing else going on. And they have the time and the access to go online and make a huge fuckery out of everything. Because they look like they scream the loudest because they have the time and the ability to do so. And so in my opinion, I think that Hollywood is very out of touch because they are appealing to the people that speak the loudest, not the majority. Because the majority of people don't give a fuck about Hollywood. I do not care what this actor voted for. I don't give a shit about who they believe. I am going to vote and I'm going to support who aligns to my ideals as closely as possible. When X actor or X actress marries somebody else, I don't give a fuck who they marry. It's none of my business. But there's hundreds of thousands of people that are going to literally be upset if they did not marry the person they wanted them to marry. It will literally upset them in real life about who they married. To me, I don't give a fuck. But to me, I also don't live that life. So that's kind of my perception on that.
A good point. It we're kind of on the same page in regards to Hollywood. I'm just thinking that tying Hollywood as well into like video games and Marvel's latest. Have you seen Marvel's latest 2 editions? I shit you not. Safe Space and Snowflake are the name of the next 2 Marvel heroes coming out, and it is just
shut the fuck up. Are you serious?
I wish I was kidding you. Okay.
No. Are you for real right now?
I'll look it up, man. I'm not.
Dude, the Marvel story. I'm looking it up right now as you speak, my friend.
I don't know. Look. I like it because it is just too damn funny. It's just so it's like the homeless guy that's just constantly tripping over his own feet. You are
absolutely 100% correct.
It's just
the new warriors. The new warriors for the new generation.
Warriors. That's suggestive.
You gotta be shitting me right now.
It's just like maybe it's gonna be like the Disaster Artist. It's just this thing is just so bad, and it was. They tried to be cool, and then it just turns out to be so bad. But because it is so bad, it bounces from the bottom back all the way to the top, and then all of a sudden everyone is nuts about it.
Well, here's the problem, and this is the way that I see it. There's obviously a huge feminist agenda. I believe that all men and women are created equal. Period. And I believe that everybody in today's world, everybody has the equal opportunity for success. And so I believe, again, especially with the internet, you can go on the internet and be whoever the fuck you want. You can go on the internet. The internet is not prejudiced about you based on your color, your skin, your age, whatever. I mean, you've got a 7-year-old right now on YouTube that is making hundreds of millions of dollars. And that's a 7-year-old kid that's kicking all of our asses, right? It's just destroying all of us right now. So again, there's equal opportunity, there's equal access. There is just not an equal skill set. There are differing skill sets, and that's based on the individual to get that skill set, get that education, or have that desire or drive to do something in life and make something out of themselves. Because everything else is pretty much equal anymore. And so, but when it comes to Hollywood, the feminist agenda is a big thing. Look at the remake of Ghostbusters. Look at the new Captain Marvel that came out with the female Captain Marvel. Look at all of the female-based things that have come out that have absolutely landed on their ass. Birds of Prey. Birds of Prey was disappointing in the box office because, again, you have that huge push for that minority because the minority is the loudest. The majority is the loudest that will do all the shit on the internet. And again, it doesn't matter if only 10% of the population believes the minority. The whole thing is that that's the only thing they see because the majority don't give a fuck. The majority's like, okay, yeah, this new movie launched, it bombed, it sucked in theaters. I'm not going to go to fucking Medium and write a 16-page fucking essay on Medium pointing out all the sexist and all the tyrannical and all the patriarchy bullshit in today's society. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to lace my boots up. I'm going to go to fucking work. I don't have the time to write a fucking 16-page essay on everything that's wrong with manscaping and today's modern man and how sexism controls women. They don't give a fuck. They don't have the time for that. And so the problem is that They think they have the support. They think they have those voices that come out. But when they come out with films that are literally directed and aimed at that target market, that those films fucking bomb in the box office. They do not do well because, again, they're catering to the minority. But again, there's a large portion of Americans or even globally that watch this content, not just the minority. So they're targeting the minority, but they don't understand that the majority is not accepting it because it's not a true representation of what the people want. And to add fuel to the flame is you've got these actors, these actresses that are coming out and saying the reason why Birds of Prey did not do well is because of the patriarchy, because of male supremacy, because of XYZ factor. Instead of saying, you know what, yeah, we targeted the wrong fucking group because, yeah, we see this, but this isn't how the country is represented as a whole.
But what about this that's complex and just perplexing me is just how it's a constantly failing business model. Yet the businesses are either, I don't know, I guess maybe their brains are just being hijacked by coronavirus and they just can't think and do things that don't involve them shooting their own feet, or that there's some other factor at play where, you know, again, somehow the minority has become the majority.
So I don't think the minorities become the majority. You know what my thoughts are, and I actually recently discovered this because you and I are almost identical thought process wise. We really are. Like we are very, very, very close. And so what kind of enlightened me to this, and this was just because I experiment. I experiment a lot. I try things. I try new things. I fail. I win. You know, I'm always open to new things because I'm curious. Like I'm curious how shit works. And so I want to bring an example up to you that maybe make sense to you. So for example, take Amazon, right? Amazon makes more money than any of us can fathom. Amazon makes a fuck ton of money. I mean, just our brains cannot fathom the amount of money this company really brings in. We literally cannot manifest it. It's that high. So think about that for a second. So Twitch, right? Twitch, the interactive streaming platform that is being absolutely taken over by female gamers called e-girls. It's literally an e-girl site now. So Twitch is getting a shit ton of views, right? And they're paying their e-girls and their personalities. They pay them $3.50 per 1,000 views. I make almost $20 per 1,000 views on YouTube. These e-people, they don't make a lot of money. Their money really comes through donations, but I digress. That's not the topic of this conversation. So Amazon has the money that Twitch right now is a failing business model. So I'm a Twitch affiliate. So I get, even though I'm not on Twitch, like they pay me to do shit for them if I decide to do so. I stick with YouTube because Twitch is Twitch is a loss for me. I will not make money there. So I'm about making money. I'm here to make money. So I'm not going to go to Twitch. That's going to pay me $3.50 per 1,000 views when YouTube pays me $20. Like I'm just not going to do it. It doesn't make sense to me. Plus, I can't use SEO. I can't get the same visibility on Twitch like I do on YouTube. It doesn't make sense. It does not make financial sense for me to be over there. So I just don't do it anymore. So when it comes to Twitch, Twitch is getting its fucking ass kicked right now because people are abandoning the platform. They're going to a platform called Mixer. Mixer's a big thing right now. And the biggest gaming platform right now, and when it comes to growth, is Facebook gaming. So Facebook is now paying gamers in a type of currency that is redeemable for cash. And so it's called the STARS currency. And so Facebook is growing at a rate of 4 to 5 times what Twitch is growing at. It is destroying Twitch right now. The thing is that Amazon has got such deep pockets that it doesn't matter. The loss doesn't matter. It's about their image. It's about, okay, for example, My company, Billett Enterprise Incorporated, I own 7 companies. I own 7 different companies under my corporate umbrella. So what I do is that, for example, my real estate side, so I have my rentals that are doing okay. My condo rentals are getting fucking crushed right now. My condo rentals is a huge loss right now. So what I do is that the money that I earn from my online store, the money that I earn in royalties and dividend payments, the money that I make on YouTube, the money that I make on these other operations are going to come in and compensate for my losses so I can keep that business model running. And so for Amazon, even though Twitch is losing them money, they have such a huge, there's a slush fund. They have a huge amount of money that they can keep that going at a massive loss infinitely. It doesn't matter. They do it because they own the space. They own that space. They have these people that are promoting their products, promoting their services. If it's a loss, fuck it, whatever. It doesn't matter. They've got billions. They've got billions to keep that shit going. So as long as they have that influence and own that space, they don't really give a shit. Just like with me, I will sustain my condo rental vertical of my company. I have to sustain that for the next year at least. It's going to cost me $25,000, $30,000 maybe this year, but I'll keep it going because I'm going to own the space. And so when things rebound, that should eventually pay me back and it'll become profitable again. But it makes sense for my company just to keep them going instead of selling them and moving on because I know it's an asset. Twitch is worth an X amount of dollars, just the website alone, just the community alone. Just like my condos. My condos are assets. They are worth a particular amount of money. And so I'll keep that going as long as I need to. So Hollywood's the exact same way. You've got backers that are worth billions. They're worth so much money that we can't comprehend. So it doesn't matter if they bomb. It matters about the message. And if they're a woke company, that's what matters to them. And they're going to keep it. Doesn't fucking matter if it loses $100 million of video. Fuck it. They are woke.
Mr. Bezos, right?
Yeah. That's a very similar thing.
Right. So I'm guessing the same thing is going on with the media companies who are telling everyone to stock up on toilet paper for the Corona tidal wave.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I know that if it again as a company, if I can take advantage, like you even said in the chat, don't let a good crisis go to waste. And I forgot who said there was a president that said that, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, years ago. So what I did, and this is just brutal honesty, is that I am selling Bounty fucking paper towels. So it is the Bounty matter right here. Fucking, I'll fucking show you just to kind of prove that I'm not bullshitting anybody. I am selling paper towels for $83 a fucking a package. It's like $83 or $84. I'm gonna try to pull it up right now real quick here. And that is the nature of capitalism. And because I'm still selling it at a fair price, I'm selling it at $39.95 for the bundle. The shipping is $47 for shipping. And people are buying that shit. People are legitimately fucking buying it because of the quote unquote crisis.
Well, it's just the unfortunate reality is that if the whole herd's going off the cliff, the average sheep is going to come down with them all the way to the bottom. So,
unfortunately, that's human behavior, and It's not like it's the first time we've seen this. This isn't the first time. So what I did is my local suppliers have run out. We don't have it anymore. And so what I have to do is I have to drop ship. I have to go through a particular company to get this done. But I'm going to show you this order just to kind of throw it out there to you. Where's my cell at? 1 second here. I'm pulling my eBay while I'm talking to you. Sold. Where are you? Orders. Let's see here. Paid and shipped. All right, check this shit out, dude. when we started selling this shit, I couldn't fucking believe it. And my wife does a lot of the retail shit. Here, let me share this screen real quick here. We're going to share this. So I'm not sure if you can see this. Can you see the sales record right here?
Let me maximize my window.
Okay.
All right.
So this is all public record. So the address and everything, it's all public record from orders. You can pull up these records. But if you look at, so this is a Bounty paper towel, 12 rolls. 12 rolls of Bounty paper towels sold for $34.99. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
no bullshit. No bullshit. Look at the shipping charge on this. $47.46. They paid $84 fucking $.45 for paper towels.
Wow.
Yeah. Couldn't fucking believe it. And this isn't the only order. We've gotten 6 of these orders in 2 days for one 12-pack of paper towels. It's absolutely unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable. I could not believe it that was a thing, but it's a thing. So as a capitalist, I mean, obviously, if they have better options, they need to do it. But if they cannot find it, they can't drive anywhere, whatever, this is the only option, then I will stay competitive in the marketplace and put that up there. Could not fucking believe it.
Well, you see, okay, here's what's interesting is that I know that price gouging in most United States provinces are all illegal.
It should be illegal. It absolutely should be illegal.
But what's interesting is that people are willing to buy at gouged prices anyway. So then this law is just basically null in terms of enforcement effectivity. So look at this. I mean, $30 for a 12-pack, right?
well, yeah, it was $39, which is, I think the profit margin is 20. I think our profit margin is 22%, 24%, somewhere like that. The thing is that the price gouging is not on the business end. So the price gouging is on what's federally subsidized, which is USPS. The United States Postal Service that gets a shit ton of government subsidies to continue going as the major mail carrier, they're the ones that are charging us $47 fucking for something that weighs like 6.5 pounds. And they're charging us almost $50 a shit that shit. And so the price gouging isn't on our end. We're trying to get it to, I mean, I'll sell that shit for $40 all day, but you got to pay the shipping. And so if you are going to pay the shipping, they are charging 130%, 130%, 135% of your actual purchase price. They are charging you to send you that product. And so again, we're selling it competitively. The shipping is what's fucking the buyer. And that's
also, oh, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Go ahead, bro.
And the government's also keeping the postal service, which is obviously losing to like a more privately owned shipping companies like FedEx or UPS or whatever. And the government's just keeping them on like life support despite their failing business model.
The United States Postal Service should have gone bankrupt 10 years ago. They should have been done 10 years ago, at minimum. So yeah, no, private FedEx, UPS, they should have taken over that market a long time ago. The problem is USPS is not. And a lot of people think it's government. It's not. It's private. They're just subsidized by the government. They're heavily supported, and I can't tell you. You may know, because I used to know a couple of years ago. I don't know anymore. But the tens or hundreds, I don't know which one it is now, but the tens or hundreds of millions that they're losing every year, as in profit loss, or excuse me, as in loss of operations. USPS has been getting its ass kicked for a long time. They are not competitive at all anymore.
It was before Lance was outed as a cheater. Lance Armstrong.
Oh fuck!
Yeah,
has it been that long?
I mean, I'm asking you.
I don't know. I mean, I know that he was taking steroids due to his, I believe it was the single testicle issue, to make up for the loss of testosterone production. I know I've done a lot of steroids. I've done a lot of steroids in my life. I can't get on a fucking bicycle and win the Tour de France. And I have done a lot of fucking juice. A lot. I cannot grab a baseball bat and fucking beat Barry Bonds. And I have done a lot of fucking juice. So I'm pretty open to that shit, because a lot of people think that once you start injecting steroids, you're good at everything. Dude, I was good at lifting weights, and I looked good naked. That was about the limit of what steroids did to me. I could go to a batting cage and I had a single fucking ball. Like, it's not a magical solution. So I don't know enough about the Lance Armstrong thing when it came to how he did his bicycling and everything else. But honestly, I couldn't get on a fucking bike and beat everybody. There's no way. I was not. That did not give me the ability to do that. I wish it did, because I'd have gone out and beat everybody's asses and everything and made a bunch of money. But it didn't give me that ability, unfortunately.
Well, if I guess an unspoken rule in professional cycling is that everyone's like, okay, right now, like the oh geez, I'm not really not up to date on my cycling news, but I guess for the past like 3 or so Tour de France's, the undefeated champion, the yellow jersey, is Chris Froome, and there was one incident where he got a cup of urine thrown at him in the middle of a race, and because everyone's thinking that he's on the juice, and the kind of unspoken truth that is within pro cycling is that since everyone's so world class, everyone would be at a tie. So if you're winning, it's almost expected that you're on the juice, and if you don't do it, you're not going to win. So it's just yeah. I mean, the Tour de France is not what it was 100 years ago, obviously. It's just so much more cutthroat, and there's, I don't know. It's, I mean, it's cool. It's just cool to watch them, to see, how they just chug along, these skeleton-like figures just pedaling a bike at automobile speeds, essentially. But I guess just once you peel away all the glamour, all the shiny bike gear, and all of the fans, and all of the flair, it's just it's a really ugly throat slicing competition. So
it's tough. So I won my very first competition as a professional bodybuilder. My very first amateur competition I won. I was completely natural, 100% natural. Everybody and their mother thought I was on juice at the time. I was 160 fucking pounds. Like, I am not on juice. I promise you, I'm not. Because I'd be a fuck ton bigger if I was. And so I won my very first competition completely 100% natural. And I sat down with a pro. I can't mention his name because I don't want to incriminate him for whatever, because people are weird. But I sat down with a pro after my winnings. He had a training camp and training gym one-on-one in Roseville, California. He was IFBB. He was one of the top 10 bodies in the world at that time. And so I sat down with them because I wanted to take it to a different level. And he goes, listen, dude. He goes, you did a natural, great. If you want to stay natural, go to the natural circuits. They test everybody. They make sure everything's legit. Everything's cool. Everybody is not taking juice. It is what it is. There's not a lot of money in it. But if you want to stay natural, that's your thing. Or you can go the unnatural route. And so the unnatural route, they don't test you. They don't do shit. They make money on freaks. Go out there, do what you need to do, train your ass off, and go out there and win a trophy. He goes, that's where the money is. That's what everybody pays to see. Everybody pays to see the freaks. That's what they want to see. They want to see freaks of fucking nature. They want to see something that does not make sense to them. That breaks the normal. That is their thing. That's what brings them the big dollars. Just like the steroid era of baseball, the Major League Baseball, the Sosas, the Cansecos, the Bonds. Their attendance in baseball games during that time has never been matched since back in the day with Mays and all those guys, right? Babe Ruth. Right, we have not seen attendance at that level because these dudes were juiced out of their fucking gores, and they were knocking shit out of the fucking park like every other week. You got dudes in canoes and shit out there chasing baseball. Like, it was fucking exciting. It was fucking exciting. We all When it came to Sosa and Bonds and McGuire, Sosa and Bonds were trying to beat McGuire's record, and they were out there just fucking beating the shit out of these baseballs. That shit was exciting as fuck. That was like the golden era of baseball during my lifetime. So what I'm trying to get is that pro said you can either go this way or you can go this way. But he also said, listen, he goes, if you do all this and you do it correctly and you work out and your nutrition's on point and this and this and this and this and this, it will give you about a 5% edge. So I don't know if you know who Rich Piana is. He was actually a friend of mine before he died. He's a good dude. I mean, he was a good friend of mine. And he fucking died because he was stupid doing a bunch of fucking coke and shit in bathrooms while he was on a huge cycles, and he fucking died of a heart attack. But his brand came out. It was called the 5% brand, 5%ers. So if you're an enhanced athlete, it only gives you about a 5% edge on a non-enhanced athlete. It's not a save-all. I guarantee you, if you go to gyms, if you are big in the gym culture, I guarantee you there's a couple of people that you know that take steroids. I guarantee you. And the problem is that most of those guys do it wrong and they look like shit. Even though they're taking it, they're not doing it right. They're not eating right. They're not training right. And they look like the average dude because they're not using it the way it's supposed to be used. Because I have taken $600, $700, $800 a month cycles that are considered light cycles. And I have beaten dudes that are taking $2,000 to $3,000 a month in cycles. And I've gone on stage and I've beat their ass because they are relying on the drug to compete at that level, and they don't have the ethic behind them. And I go on stage and I would fucking destroy these dudes. So yes, does it help? Yes. But not at the degree that I think a lot of people think it does.
Right. Well, it's called a performance enhancement, not replacement. So I think that's the part that they forgot about. I've actually never heard of it. The way that you just said that I've actually never heard that before. That's a great point. That's an absolutely great point. That it enhances, it does not replace. That's an excellent point. I haven't heard that before. Yeah. Who would have known that there's some kind of principle or methodology to something as fairly crooked as performance enhancement or cheating, quote unquote?
It depends on now, and this is pretty universal when it comes to enhanced athletes. And I don't know if you know this, but I'm going to tell you this right now because there's a huge, like when you talk about like a thieves code and the gangsters code and all that bullshit, there is actually a code in professional athletes. If you are competing in a natural circuit and you use steroids or growth enhancers or any of that, I don't think a lot of people in the mainstream know this. Those people are looked at as pieces of shit. Those people are looked at as absolute pieces of shit. They have no respect in the industry at all. That's cheating. That is fucking cheating, period. There is no other way to look at that. If you are an athlete that takes enhancements, because you can get around drug tests. Like I'm not going to say that it's easy, but it's very possible. So if you are competing against natural guys and you are a steroid user or a growth hormone user or any of that, you are a fucking piece of shit. And fuck you. If you ever win anything, fuck you. Like you are fucking trash. Like you are completely disowned. And there's a lot of guys that do that. They go into a natural circuit and they win a bunch of shows because they know they cycle exactly perfectly to make sure that even though they're cycling, that they will piss clean in tests because of the dates. And so they'll do that. Or they'll do something at such a minuscule level that it will not show in your analysis, but they're still taking external stimuli when it comes to testosterone or DECA, tren or mesa or whatever the fuck they're taking, right? So in the world of bodybuilding, if you're that dude, you're a piece of shit. Like, fuck you. Because nobody should go into a natural circuit and rob those guys that are out there busting their fucking ass naturally, and you rob that from them because you're an enhanced athlete. Like that's trash. That's fucking trash. When it comes to the enhanced side of things, it's the exact polar opposite. If you come to a non-tested circuit like the NPC, which is what I was a part of, if you are a natural athlete, you are going to get fucking killed. You're going to get killed. Period. Like you can have guys that train 75% of the level that you train, and they will destroy you on stage. They will destroy you because they're enhanced. And that, again, polar opposite. So if you're going to go natural, you need to go into a natural circuit and let the freaks stay in the freak circuit, the non-tested circuit. So, and that's kind of like an unwritten like bro code when it comes to being a professional bodybuilder or powerlifter, because we all think the same way, because that natural circuit is necessary. People that do not, like if I have a son and my son wants to go into powerlifting or bodybuilding, there will be a time where I'll sit down with him and I'll go, hey, what do you really want to do? Do you want to be a natural? There's nothing wrong with being natural. Go out there, bust your ass, do what you got to do it right, win that circuit. Or if he wants to go enhanced, okay, cool. If you're going to do that, this is what you need to do, and this is the direction you need to go. You know, there's an education level to that. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to cheating, it's really, again, like if you're going to go to an unnatural circuit, like using steroids is part of the curriculum. That is a part of being in that circuit, because there's a reason why there's untested and tested. Like there is a reason, because the untested, that's what brings the money. That's where the money is for those organizations.
Right. And I'm just thinking that it's interesting how it's almost, I don't know if we're exactly representative of the average viewer of any of these televised or publicized sports, whether it be, weightlifting or cycling or anything really. God forbid the Olympics and the Russians. It's just kind of interesting how this is almost common knowledge, yet whenever we're put in front of the TV or in front of the live stream of the sports, we're just sitting there and gaping, our eyes wide open, but just drinking it all in. It's just, I just wonder how we just manage to maintain this duality within our own minds as we're watching this content. And yeah, I don't know.
So are you talking from the athlete side or the consumer side?
No, from the consumer side. Whether we're part of like the insiders being like former athletes ourselves, or just being outsiders, or whenever we're looking at something like a sport that we don't really specialize in. Either way, just as a viewer.
I think that's a type of ignorance. I mean, there's a reason why. I mean, first of all, let's just be very real. So steroids in the Olympics started in the fucking 70s. That was when like the big steroid era started coming in. And I think the problem is that people are either insecure about their choices, or they want to appeal to that minority. Because don't get me wrong, like I'm very open about my steroid use. I'm very open about it. I was in a non-tested circuit. All of us fucking did it. Like there are literal times that I was training with people that I competed with, and we fucking shared needles. Like that's what you did, because we were all like we're asking about each other's cycles. Because I don't think a lot of people realize that in the bodybuilding or powerlifting world, a lot of us are friends. A lot of us, we fucking know, we train with each other. Like we're out there kicking each other's ass all the time, just like in MMA. You've got guys that are in the same weight class that are friends, that spar against each other, that fight against each other. They're learning each other. They're learning new things. They're getting better. And so for whatever reason, because the professional bodybuilding, the professional powerlifting world is very fucking small. I mean, there's not many people that can do that at the level that we do that at. And so obviously we're going to gravitate to each other, because nobody else understands it. And again, I don't know how far you went being a cyclist. I don't know if you were at a pro level or a semi-pro or an amateur, but you probably know if you were involved with that. We gravitate, because nobody understands what the fuck we do. Nobody understands the diet or the training regimen, any of that. Nobody gets it but us. And so we just naturally come together. And so it's really funny that when you come out and you're like, yes, like this is a part of what we do. This is a part of our job. Like this is what we get paid to do. So this is what we do. The problem is that people will come out and they're worried about that minority. The majority of people don't give a fuck what you do or what you take, whatever. You go out there, you go on stage, you're the biggest guy out there, you beat everybody's ass. You come home with the gold, you drink a beer, you have a good night, you take some hookers home or whatever the fuck, whatever you're gonna do, whatever your thing is, right? like party hard, right? Because you train hard, you party hard. And so that I think the problem is that people are not honest about themselves. Because again, I can give you anybody in the chat, anybody that I meet, I will straight up buy you $2,000 worth of steroids right fucking now. And I guarantee you that you will go on stage after taking all that and you will get your fucking ass handed to you on a stage. You can go out and you can try out for AAA baseball and you will get your fucking ass kicked. I guarantee you those drugs are not going to turn you into a professional athlete. They are just a supplement, just like anything else. They're just a supplement. And I've done that. When I was competing, I had a guy come up. I'm not going to mention his name, but he came up, a guy that I know. We're actually still friends today. I mean, we'll go acquaintances today. And he goes, well, you're only winning these shows because, you do steroids. I'm like, you know what, dude? I will buy you a next cycle. I will buy you a 20-week cycle right fucking now. I will tell you how to take it. I will tell you how to eat. You can train with me every day. And I guarantee you I will beat you on fucking stage. I will guarantee you I will. And he goes, all right, bro, let's do it. So I bought him a 20-week cycle, which was like, $1,600 or whatever. And so I bought him a cycle, and he got on that cycle. He did not have the discipline to finish the cycle that I paid this dude to do. He couldn't even finish it. He was like, dude, I don't want to take these shots. I don't want to eat. I'm not hungry, blah, blah, blah. So the dude went like 6 weeks in the cycle and fucking quit. And that was that. And that's why I try to tell people, like, dude, listen, like, it's not easy. Like, it takes a lot to get there if you're even going to make it in the first place. And the problem is that it's old talk until you present to somebody. Just like you as a cyclist. I mean, I don't know how far you cycle or what your daily thing is or weekly or monthly thing is, but I guarantee you that you probably met people that want to be cyclists until you take them out for a day and they're like, dude, fuck this. I can't do this shit anymore.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the pros will train anyway. I mean, it is their full-time job for UCI professionals to cycle for well over 7, 8, 10 hours a day. And they spend the other half of the day mostly sleeping and eating.
Hold on, say that again. Hold on. Did I hear you correctly? Say that again.
Yeah, most UCI professionals, they would just pedal and train for anywhere between 7 to 8 hours a day, 40, 50 hours a week. And the rest of the time, they just pretty much spend sleeping and eating.
These guys are on bicycles? They're on bicycles to 40 to 60 hours a fucking week?
Yeah, I'm not kidding you.
Shut up.
Yeah, you should see the typical. I mean, and any of them. I mean, there's some anomalies here and there. There's some short, stocky guys, but the majority of them, you should see their legs. Their skin, the skin on their legs is paper thin, and it is just like so saturated with veins. You might be. I mean, you probably think you're just looking at a dish sponge about how many aerobic channels there are in all of their muscles. And it's astounding how their bodies adapt to it.
I had no idea they train that much. I had no idea they train that much. That is, so they're literally a full-time job on a fucking bicycle.
They're just, they're basically just mules and engines on two wheels. And,
I had no idea. I had no idea that was even a thing at that level.
So, just like you said, or rather what I said, the steroids well, actually, in the cycling world, since I guess the endurance races or any long races, the typical 120, 140 mile race, and that you see in the Tour de France, the more popular drug that teams use is called EPO. And it's not necessarily directly working on the muscles, but instead what it does, it increases the amount of red blood cells in your body. And Lance,
you guys do that. You guys do that with altitude training, though.
well, I mean, of course, you still need the training to be at the world class level, but in order to beat the world class, that's when you got to, start juicing, and that's how,
Well, so
that's how
I watched a documentary on that, and so and I'd love to hear your input because this is your world, and so I'd love to hear your input on this. So, for example, there are drugs to help with the red blood counts, the red blood cell count, to allow you to metabolize oxygen better and to keep yourself going. But so the drug way to do that, I guess, is called EPO. I didn't know that. But the drug way is illegal. But you can go to a high altitude training center and go into a pressurized tube and stay in there for X amount of days, where it limits your oxygen, it lowers your oxygen count, so your body literally develops more red blood cells so it can metabolize oxygen faster. But that's completely legal. But doing it the EPO way is illegal. But high altitude training centers with those environments are legal. To me, I can't fault the dude for chemically doing what this other dude is doing that's legal, that does the same fucking thing. So what is your take on that? Or am I mistaking what I've seen?
Well, I mean, you do have a point where it's kind of inconsistent how certain things are allowed. For example, I know that Olympic track sprinters, they always guzzle a bunch of painkillers before they do it because it numbs all of their nerves, so they don't feel the lactic acid building in their muscles as they do their stuff. Yep. And caffeine obviously is just a staple in just pretty much any sport.
Well, but do you also have blood packing? Do they do blood packing?
Lance actually skirted a lot of the regulations by getting his techs to just, I kid you not, just pump a ton of, I guess, purified water into his blood right before the test. And then they just give it a couple minutes, and then he takes the piss test, and then I guess he passes, or they draw. I'm not sure. Maybe they draw blood to check his red blood cell count, and then eventually, he just the water gets expelled through his body, and then he just shoots back up on the EPO, and then his blood cells are all really. His red blood cell count starts to resaturate, and then that's how he wins the competition. In addition to the steroids helping him in the short bursts, like attacks, which is when you basically try to pass someone, or the finish line sprint.
So that's like the anaerobic movements,
yeah,
the movements that are explosive that don't require oxygen.
Well, the short stretches where you put out a lot of power output at a higher cadence, where you gear down, you pedal faster so you can get more torque going through your chain, and less so that's when the steroids come in. But then the EPO is mainly for the rest of the race, because you can't wear yourself out in the first 139.5 miles, and then at the last half mile dash, you're running out of steam. So these two obviously have to work together. And
140 miles on a fucking bicycle, I'd fucking die. I don't care how much steroids I'm pumping. I would have died mile fucking 6. I'd have been fucking dead.
Yeah, but it's just like you said, people want to see the freaks, and the freaks are the ones running the show, and you have to be the freakiest of the freaks. And even if you do the pressure chamber altitude training, you're just never going to beat the guy who does pressure chamber altitude training and then some EPO and then roids and then has $1 million a year budget through his pro team to deck him out in the latest gear, the best drinks, the best pre-ride nutrition, massage therapy, medical doodads, all that and stuff. It's just it just all adds up, and then Yeah, it's so it's just like half of the competition is about the skill and the training and the athlete himself, but then the other half is like the show behind the curtains, whether it's equipment or teamwork or is just it's
fucking muscle therapy, fucking cryotherapy, all that bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just there's so much going on behind the curtains. It's just like looking at an iceberg. There's only so little of it that you see in the surface, and that's the only part that people are chomping at the bit to watch.
I agree. How long have you been affiliated with being a cyclist?
I mean, I'm strangely enough, I didn't learn how to ride a bike until I was like 12 or so. At least not without training wheels. But then after a couple of years, I just wasn't really excited about having a car like most teenagers at the time. I was like, I want a bike, and just since then I just I try to limit my petrochemical usage. Let's just put it that way. And mostly,
so you're trying to go for a smaller carbon footprint. You're trying to stay away from that. Is that what I'm trying to understand?
Well, that's just only one part of it. It's also about just minimizing costs and utilizing. Just utilizing resources that most people are just really just going to brush away and throw away to waste. And
yeah, we're very wasteful. A lot of people do things every day that don't ever take a look at what the repercussions are. Now are you in an urban area to where bicycle access is pretty easy for you?
Not really, actually, but I guess the main issue here is the time investment required for it. And even if I'm obviously no Chris Froome, and I really think I can get by, but I know that I used to be like really nuts about it, almost to the point where I was just kind of like a SJW about it on its own. But it's tough. So that's why I kind of backed off about the activism I used to push on it, because I realized, as I started to get a job and there's just less and less time available. So, it's, and also now, I guess now since everything's closed and I don't really have anywhere to go and I'm just really bored of riding around where I am right now, I dug an old electric motor out of my garage and I hooked it up to like a lawnmower belt, and I put my old bike on a trainer, and now I just pedal that and it spins the motor, and I hooked up that motor to a old 12-volt lawnmower battery, and I use that to just generate electricity instead of just letting it all burn away in like on a treadmill or whatever, where the treadmill uses electricity. Cool, man. Yeah,
that's cool. Well, they were talking. This was a couple of years ago. They were talking about being able to install devices like bike type of devices that you could literally be on the bike for an hour in your house, and it would literally charge everything to run your house for an entire day. So you just have to do an hour a day on a bike, and it charges your house for a day worth of usage. And that would be kind of the self-sustaining system. That came out, I think, a couple of years ago. I think there's a big study on that.
Well, that's really impressive, but I'm just thinking that, I don't know, after I built this project, I actually really put things into perspective about how much electricity I use as an individual, and not just, and I'm not like what I used to be, where I used to be like this crazy leftist hippie, but I'm like raw libertarianism and free market. But, at the same time, I do counterbalance myself by understanding, how our civilized lives, how much it uses up. And am I going to be voting for like environmental regulations like I used to back when I was a Bernie bro, a mindless university drone? Absolutely not. But instead, what it has done is just made me so grateful that there's all these resources available to us as human beings living in the year of 2020. And
so just out of curiosity, I don't want to expose a bunch of sensitive information from you while we're here, but so it sounds like that, and for me, when I went to college, I went to military universities. I went to Columbia College of Missouri. That's where I got my master's degree. So I was doing a lot of my studies abroad. So I wasn't exposed to the university culture that a lot of people do. And I would love to hear your experience, because from what I've seen, that the majority, because back in the day, when you went to a university, it was because you go to a university to be exposed to different trains of thoughts, different culture, different backgrounds, and it's supposed to educate you on more of a world type view, not like an indoctrination. That is what is going on today. It's supposed to challenge your beliefs, challenge what you think is right, what you think is wrong, at a world type view. That's why universities were created, was to bring people from across the land together and to be exposed to that, but also learn what was the norm or what needed to be done. And so I will say, in my experience, I'd love to hear your experience, but in my experience, when it comes to actual four-year grads, or people living in the dorms, or people that are within that realm, it seems like the vast majority of those people align with left, like the vast majority of them, either by their own doing or by the institution that they're a part of. Because I rarely speak to people that are actively in college that have a more neutral or right-leaning stance, and it sounds like you are exposed to that. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I guess we can start at a systematic level. I think there's kind of this duality going on within the cluster of minds running our university. So half of the show is being run by, as you and I both suspect, the leftist political powers trying to use this as like a breeding ground for their little minions to do communism right this time, right? And the other half,
democratic socialism.
Right. It's not real communism.
Socialism is the way, right?
Oh my. Into that, just I bit my entire mouthful into that back when I was there, and it was just I cringe when I look back at my life then.
How long have you been out of college now?
What's up?
How long have you been out of college now?
I won't disclose exactly how long, but it's just been a few years. It's I'm a public figure, so it doesn't matter. So I'm 34, and so you are a bit younger than me. It sounds like. You can say that, sure.
Okay. Because you sound about my age. So, but you are younger. It sounds like.
Well, I take that as a compliment, I suppose.
No, you do.
Yeah.
You sound like my age. So it's really interesting. You know what? I'm really glad that you came on, because I know that we met during a gaming stream, and it's really cool to connect with you. Like that's the whole purpose of my channel, is to connect with people at this kind of level. So I'm really glad that you came in and gave me some of your time. So this has been absolutely fascinating.
Right. And I feel the exact same way, especially with these everything shutting down, and there's no way to go anywhere or meet your friends without being arrested. I will be your entertainment. Yeah, and best of all, it's free, other than the electricity to run my computer.
That's right. So I'm curious to hear, and again, like I said, don't disclose anything personal, but so your university experience, I'm really curious. Now, did you go traditional 4-year, like were you in dorms and the whole 9 yards, or what was your experience?
I was on the track for a 4-year program, and and I think I entered at the point where it was it's the universities are starting to turn around. Like, okay, so on one hand you had like the politics trickling down from the top. From the top of the pyramid downwards to the base of the university. But on the other half, you had a business model going on where universities were no longer a marketplace of ideas like you and I both expected universities to be like. But they're starting to slowly like dial down the level of idea marketplace hood, and they're starting to turn up the indoctrination as well as business model, where you're telling students not exactly what the university was designed to be or what it was 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago, but you're starting to just produce something that where classes are easy and you give the students the magical degree that their parents told them that would be the backbone to their financial success as they aged. And it just started to become a customer service, essentially.
I agree with you.
And the evaluations at the end of the academic years that the professors were given were basically the backbone to how well that they're going to do. Well, you know, whether it's like even all the way. I mean, this is just. I mean, obviously, this is anything new. This is something with public education at the time.
Well, you teach to pass tests. You don't teach to educate anymore.
Right.
It's to pass those standardized tests.
But then the universities are even worse in the sense that it's not even about passing tests. It's just about making your students happy. And the number one desired compliment to get from your students is to say, "Oh, this class was easy. The teacher was easy or great," and that's just what it's devolving into. And the fact that the boomer investors are still thinking that, oh, you know, I went to college and that's why I'm successful right now, so I'm going to still keep pumping money and donations into these universities, and it just feeds the fire, and we're producing a bunch of.
I'll be straight honest with you. So I spent over $120,000 on my master's degree. I spent a lot of money on that shit. I will be flat out fucking honest with you. You could go on YouTube and learn for free everything I learned in college. Like, flat out. In my opinion, I think that YouTube and methods like this are going to eventually replace colleges. I think that is the future of learning, because everything that I practice today and I've learned, I can get on YouTube for free. Every single thing. If I'm looking at profitability, if I'm looking at how to dissect statistics, if I'm looking at how to do my quarterly reports to my investors, I mean, anything that I want to learn, I can go on YouTube and find for free. And I really think that that's the direction that higher learning should go, obviously on vetted sources, on sources that are considered to be legitimate. But I mean, universities, in my opinion, universities are going to be completely outdated, because I have met people when I was in my master's degree. I have met people that have done insanely well without having a degree. You know, the reason why I got my master's degree is because I was working for the government at the time, and if I have a master's degree, it was guaranteed six-figure income, guaranteed. That is what I qualified for. So that's why I got my degree. That's the only reason why I went master's instead of staying at bachelor's, is because the government in California, because it's completely fucked up, the government in California will take a 4-year degree or a 6-year degree over somebody that's got 30 years of experience at the same job. The California government will give me the job instead of the guy that's been literally doing the job for 30 years. I will beat him out every time. And that was my strategy to get into the government position that I was in. And so it's insane. It really is insane.
Mm. That's because you're doing the 6 years, not necessarily for the knowledge itself, because, you know, as you stated, you can just literally get it anywhere, whether it's from the internet or from actually working in the field.
I look it up today. I mean, I have this master's degree. Everything behind me is fucking degrees and certificates and all this bullshit that I got. To this day, at times I'm like, well, fuck, I don't remember what the fuck that was. I don't remember the formula. Here, let me go to YouTube and pull this fucking thing up to take a look at. Oh, that's what fucking EPD is. Okay, cool. And then I'll put it. I mean, I'm referencing shit all the time. Literally, that $120,000 piece of fucking paper was for me to advance in the government. That is why I did that. Now, do I believe it's helped me today? Yes, but I'm a veteran. I'm a disabled veteran. I qualified for loan forgiveness, so all of my loan was completely wiped out by the VA, which is great, because I got blown up 6 times. Bitches paid for my fucking schooling, right? I got fucked up several times. I can't hear out of 1 year. I'm all fucked up. So that was cool that I got that going. But when I talk to students, especially high school students, I'm like, hey, like, it's cool to get a general understanding and understand this, but I always tell people to go to trade school. Go to trade school, learn something that you can do with your hands and make money, because there is a massive, I mean, I'm paying welders $70 an hour right now to fucking weld shit, because there's nobody that can do it anymore. And then them to learn a skill that can make them money in any economic climate, and then them to build a business from there. And to go into white collar after they've been in blue collar for a bit, because when they go into white collar, they go into management because they worked in that field hands-on as blue collar, they will understand their workers better. They will take care of their workers better, and they've got the understanding at both levels to build a company out of. And I always suggest people to go out and to work with their hands and get cut up, beat up a little bit, and then grow from there. I don't advocate white collar work to hardly anybody. I'm not a big believer in it, because you've got guys, because today's master's degree is the equivalent of a bachelor's degree 5 years ago. Master's degree don't really, and I'm going for my doctorate. I'll get my doctorate here in a bit when I re-enroll back. I'm probably going to go to the University of Denver for my doctorate. But again, like this master's degree is like a bachelor's degree 5 years ago. So they just give it out like candy. It doesn't matter anymore. The big thing, what America really needs is an educated blue collar worker. That's what we're losing, and that's what we need as a country.
And part of the reason for this trend, it's also about like status and image and vanity, thinking that
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, dude. The dumbest people I've met in my life have been fucking MBAs. I have met some fucking retarded master's degrees. I mean, fucking dumb people. You're sitting there going, this dude has got the same degree as I do, and he's a fucking idiot. Because everything this guy knows, I mean, and he might be smart, book smart, but everything he knows is on paper. It's like, bro, in the real world, that shit don't work like that in this economic climate, be it geopolitical, be it just straight up economic. I mean, there's a lot of variables that when you study in a school, it's all perfect condition. Perfect condition. This is what this is. This is what this is. This is what it is. And they'll pay money to walk around and have a master's degree. And I'm like, bro, okay, you got an MBA. What are you doing for a living? Like, what are you doing? These motherfuckers are staying at home. They're with their parents going, well, I'm just waiting for my break. I'm just waiting for this and this and this. It's like, bro, you're taking the wrong approach. Like, you should only go at this level of degree if it's going to guarantee you employment in a particular sector. I mean, because my master's degree doesn't mean I'm going to be a better business owner. It means that I am suited to be employed at a certain level. Doesn't mean that I'm going to make a successful business. There's plenty of people that have better businesses than mine that have zero formal education. And matter of fact, I manage a company right now that brought me on a couple of months ago. This guy brings in $5.5 million a fucking year and barely passed high school. And he's making $5.5 million a year right now. And he brought me on to manage his company. And zero formal fucking education. Guy has got no formal education.
It's kind of like it's just Napoleon syndrome, you know. It's just they realize that they aren't shit, but then they just use the degree to just like cover up, just like how King Napoleon like stood up on boxes before he got portraits of himself being painted. That degree is just like the box. That's the thing. I mean, I'm confident in saying that I have met more successful people that have no degree than people that I've met that are successful that have a master's degree. I'm confident in saying that because they got the book smarts, cool. The motherfuckers ain't got no work ethic. They do not know, they cannot relate to their employees that are out there on a roof, shingling a fucking roof for 16 hours a day. They cannot relate to them because, like you said, the Napoleon complex. A lot of these guys will not talk or relate to their laborers like they should. And they make fucking piss poor leaders. Absolute piss poor leaders. Mm-hmm. And I'm just thinking that like the elitism associated with like college educations, and now tying back to like how we originally started talking about like the coronavirus, and I found a great bridge between these two topics is that I remember how the World Health Organization, the so-called educated elite, the reliable sources. I mean, just like a few weeks ago, they were talking about how video game addiction is apparently a mental health issue that we should all acknowledge. But then all of a sudden they turned around whenever Corona Chan started dancing around dancing around the world. And then they said, and then they suddenly changed their words saying that, video game addiction is no longer an issue. It's a great way to, keep yourself in order during quarantine. And I'm just thinking, this is yet another manifestation of where our money is going, where the banks are all giving their loans to these people who are just, and these are the so-called authorities that are supposed to be informing us about what's going on in the world we can't see past our monitors, and here they are, unable to decide whether or not playing video games for a large number of hours a day is a healthy or unhealthy behavior.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, you've got video games that have been demonized, and then video games have been, put forth as something being quality for a long time. I mean, remember when GTA Grand Theft Auto was first released, and you got
people
kids
went
out there
nuts, thinking that this
lost
is
their fucking shit. People lost their minds over GTA. Now, personally, I'm not a fan. I've never played a GTA. I never will. It's something that does not. It's not because I think it's bad or it's good. It's just something that doesn't interest me. So I don't judge for or against anybody that plays that game. It's a game. But again, like you've got, there's no, when you've got an elitist type of ego or a Napoleon type of complex, I don't know if you've noticed this, but this is something I'm actually really curious about the audience who's still here and you as well. I have noticed people that will say things and they be completely disproven or blow up in their face or it's completely false. And one thing I've noticed about especially the internet is nobody has any fucking shame anymore. So like somebody can come out, like we were talking about earlier, somebody can come out and say 5G is causing coronavirus, blah, 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 blah. And that could be completely, and again, I'm not saying I'm for or against this, but somebody can come out with a study or empirical evidence that destroys their entire fucking case. Like makes them look, because like, I swear to God, this is happening and it's not happening. Well, this is this and this. So like for me, when I say something, I back that up with my name. So if I say Angry Vegan Cyclist is the best cyclist known to man, he's going to win the Tour de France next year. And you go and you ride the Tour de France and you get your fucking ass kicked. You're like number 150 or whatever. To me, that would embarrass the fuck out of me because I endorsed you. I put your name on you. I said that you're the best in the world. I'm bringing my fan base. I'm bringing a bunch of people over to see you. And you go out there and you get just fucking annihilated, right? I would feel ashamed. I would be embarrassed. I would be like, what the fuck? Like, that was wrong or whatever. I abused my authority. You've got people nowadays that will go out there and will post an article, Jason Momoa beats his fucking wife and kills his 3 kids, right? And they will post that article that is provably completely false and fake, and it'll be bring up to their attention or whatever. And they're like, this is my YouTube, this is my Facebook, whatever. I post what I want, fuck you, and they'll block you or whatever. But they'll continue posting that fake information, and there's no shame. There is no shame of putting information out there that's completely false, that is completely fake. And I really think that ties into what you're talking about, where people will put that shit out there and it'd be completely disprovable, but they don't care because tomorrow they're going to post a video of how Donald Trump fucking killed a hooker in some fucking Motel 6 somewhere from some tabloid. And it is their and they're putting their name on that. And that's something that I think that is really kind of a cancer right now.
Well, I think that's just due to the obvious fact that whenever you tell people the truth, if the truth isn't what they want to hear, then obviously they're not going to listen. They're not going to acknowledge nor care what the truth is. So people don't listen to what they know is true. Sometimes what even is in front of their face, in front of their own eyes. They only will remember what they want to. They will only acknowledge what they want to. So, and, in the past, we had many different, social rules to, for instance, religion, where it tries to, and keyword is tries, obviously I'm very much in the same pool as you in regards to religion and the view on religion versus secularism. Mm-hmm. Now, back then, there was the reason why religion and strict social rules were at the peak were because they produced order and stability, and they did so by telling people rules. For example, you tell peasants that, if you work hard, then you'll go to heaven. And that helped.
But don't do this because you're going to hell. So it is literally a form of control that it's a massive form of control, in my opinion.
But it also allowed the ruling class to declare themselves as of holy descendants, and that's why they should stay in power perpetually, and that's why they can do whatever the hell they want, whichever the hell they want. All kinds of things I probably shouldn't say on your channel, but
no, you're fine, bro. Go for it.
I mean, pedophile priests. That's another example.
Yep. Absolutely.
And in the Middle East, there's also the Bazis. I don't know if you ever heard of those. It's basically
I haven't. No.
It's really gross, but through some kind of really obscure interpretation of the Quran, there's some kind of allowance of let's just say entertainment dancers, very underage, usually underage boys, to entertain grown men gathering around a campfire or whatnot.
That's a big cultural thing. That is big in their culture. And it's weird because, and here, this would be a great discussion. I would love to bring you on next Friday and talk about actual cultural things, because it's weird. And I'm not defending anybody. But for example, I'm a dog owner. I love dogs. I've got 3. I've rescued several. And so in Western society, my dogs are my companions. They're my family. They're my babies. I got a pit bull. I got a husky. I got a golden retriever. I've owned several pit bulls. They are the best breed of any dog I've ever owned in my life. They are fucking fantastic dogs. I will take that to my grave. But you look over in China, and then motherfuckers are cooking dogs alive in restaurants and feeding it. And so that is a cultural thing. Now, I eat cows. I eat elk, whitetail, blacktail. I eat fish. I eat moose. I eat antelope. I eat squirrel. I eat rabbit. Right? So cultural-wise, I'm still taking a soul, I'm killing a soul, and I'm consuming its meat. In China, even though I love my Siberian Husky, I love my Pit Bull, I love my Golden Retriever, in fucking China, they'll take a Siberian Husky or a Pit Bull or a Golden Retriever, and they will boil that motherfucker alive in a restaurant and serve that shit. To me, ethic-wise, that goes against my ethics. That pisses me off. To them, it's just another thing. Because if you look at it at a fundamental level, it's literally the same thing. Me with my dog and doing my thing, I kill a deer, I gut a deer, I serve a deer. That's cool in the Western society of things. It's literally the exact same thing with a fucking dog in China.
Whereas in India, it's cows are considered sacred. and are in fact are a religious object, and you'd be basically committing a world class or worldly class felony by killing a cow.
So if it's not halal, if it's not blessed and be blessed for the slaughter and all that bullshit, because like when I went to McDonald's and Burger King and all that shit in Kuwait, if it wasn't halal, they couldn't serve it. So I was eating the fuck out of some like holy cow fucking Whoppers and all that shit. Like, I was eating the fuck out of holy cow, right? Because that's the only time I could do that, because Burger King didn't exist when I was in country out in Iraq. So yes, you're absolutely correct. So that is a cultural thing. Now I'm gonna get kind of controversial here. So, for example, right? Look at, I'm a parent. I've got an underage child, and I'm an uncle, so I've got underage kids that I know. That is a cultural thing. So these guys over there marrying 12, 14-year-old kids, not endorsing it, but it is a cultural thing. So at a cultural level, we do not understand that, just like we don't understand why they eat dogs, right? But they look at us and we eat cows and we do this and this and this. This is a cultural thing. Our cultural values does not mean it's right. It does not mean it's a good versus evil. Good and evil is fucking subjective. That is completely subjective. And so while I might not like the fact that this Arabic prince is banging a 12-year-old, that is a cultural thing. That does not mean it's right or it's wrong or it's indifferent. It is a cultural thing. And we cannot get on our high horses, because as Europeans, and I don't know what your ethnicity is. I am Viking and European. That is my big ethnicity. And so when I go over to European rule, we were banging 12-year-old girls 150 years ago. My family was. That is what was cultural to us. Does that mean it makes it right or it makes it wrong? But we can't take our Western culture. And again, I'm former military. I've killed motherfuckers for less than this. And so Western society, Western culture is subjective to what we think is right or what we think is wrong. It does not make it a global thing unless you base it on religion. Religion, then yes. If you are a religious person, that should be a global thing. I'm not religious, I'm subjective. And so what we think is legal here and what's right and what's good is just based on our cultural value. You go overseas to where not only they are an older civilization than we are, because they are. The cradle of life is in Africa and the Middle East. Like that is where humankind started. And so if you look at it subjectively, that the old cultures and values that they still practice today, the mercy killings, if your daughter or your wife is raped and you stone her to death in public, all of that bullshit that we do not agree with as a Western society, if you look at it logically, that is the beginning of our civilization. That is the ultimate truth. We have just changed it toward Western value, and you can credit that to enlightenment or religion or whatever you want to do, but it's still a belief system. Does not make it universally true.
Well, what I think about religion is that, okay, so I obviously, the pedophilia wasn't something that religion invented. I see religion more or less as just a post-rationalization of where people do things first, and then they use, God told me to do it, or Jesus told me to do it, or it's halal, or it's I don't know, I just say sorry and shake hands with the priest, and then I'll be good. It's just it's always an afterthought and not a before thought. That's the way I see religion now, and it's almost as if like religious people just kind of tacitly admit that what they believe is bullshit, and
so I got a question with you, because I think that you're more familiar with religion than I am. And so, like I said, like my mother's a Roman Catholic. My father is a, goddamn it, atheist. He's an atheist. So I align more with my father. I don't have, matter of fact, my brother was actually a priest assistant in the Army. My brother, or chaplain assistant in the Army. So even though my family is like super like devout Roman Catholic, I don't know shit about religion because I left before any of that was ever placed on me. So here's my question. So religion is older than all of us. Religion is thousands of years old, if we're talking about Christianity or whatever. And so you're saying that I think that people use religion as a escape out of jail card, to where, you know, this is justified by this, this is justified by that. I can do that, whatever. I go in and I give my confession or whatever to whoever you need to do it. You're absolved of your sins and you move forward. And so what you're saying, so I want to make sure that I'm following you example-wise. So you're saying that people go out and they do things, they know that that's against their religion, but because they were a follower of faith, that they were absolved of their accountability. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Maybe I'm just cynical and jaded, but that's just my overwhelming suspicion of.
I don't think you're inaccurate.
So.
I think you're accurate. I agree with you. I agree with your stance.
Right. And about what you're talking about, how the internet and honesty went around, and now with the internet age and the information age, you know, whatever people are doing behind, you know, closed doors, whether it's priests or businessmen or whatever people in power you want to name, is just, I think that even though it's tough acknowledging what people are doing and then trying to cover their asses on their way out, it's even though it is ugly what we find out, I think it is in the end the bitter truth and honesty that we all owe to each other, really.
I agree.
So
I agree.
That's why
but that takes people to come out of their shells. And here's the thing, is that you've got a majority, and I do not want to say like, oh, I'm perfect. I fuck up all the time. I made a major fuck up today in my company. You know, I made a major bad. I issued, because I'm a C-type company, so I pay shareholder dividends every 3 months for every quarter. So I sent out over $2,000 worth of dividend checks to my investors, and I didn't sign the fucking checks. The checks have got no fucking signature on them. So I've got my shareholders getting a hold of me right now going, this check is bad. I can't cash in my shit. And then during COVID-19, where a lot of my shareholders could use those hundreds of dollars that I paid them this quarter, they can't access their funds because I'm a fucking dumbass. I didn't sign my checks. So that's, I'm human. I fuck up. It is what it is. But here's a way that I kind of justify this. So I think, and this is just my opinion, but I think that the majority of people's lives and the majority of people's relationships are not truthful. I think that people build themselves up to be an act or be a character that is unsustainable. And so they are constantly reaching and acting and justifying or whatever. I think that people are absolutely terrified of being who they are, like for real, being who they are as a person, because of either social acceptance or being somebody that is worthy to be breedable with, to create offspring or whichever. I think that people just are not comfortable or happy or confident for who they are. Did I lose you? Uh-oh. We lost our guest. What the hell? What is going on? Oh, I don't see anything. Staffu. Uh-oh. Okay, I'm going to take a piss break. I'm going to give him a couple of minutes, maybe some connectivity issues. And then, so this was supposed to go on for an hour, and we were on hour number 6. So we've been on for a while. Okay, so I'm going to let, oh, hey, there you are.
Yeah, welcome sorry back. About that. Yeah, I got some stuff going on. So yeah, I just wanted to close. Not sure what you said. those last few minutes, but yeah, I guess
I said
gotta
everything.
go
I
too.
give you the truth of life. I give you
Right.
the meaning of life, and you missed it. What the hell?
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess maybe next time, next life, next we both come back as a different species or whatever.
That's right. We come back as daffodils, and we'll talk.
Right. Well, anyway, great stream with you. I got stuff. I gotta go. You probably do too. So
No, go do your shit. Yeah, well, like I said, I planned this to be an hour, and we are at over 6 hours.
right.
But no, I would actually love to have you back on, dude. I really would. I think that with you and coming on and having a panel of different belief systems, I think that would be a really good panel. I think we'd have a good time. So I would love to have you on whenever you're comfortable to come on. I would love to have you on. I had a great conversation with you, dude.
Same with me. I never knew I had that much in common with you. But next Friday, I can't make any promises. My
You're good.
schedule's a bit hectic, so but nevertheless, I guess if I have the opportunity, I can just show up in the stream just like I did today, and
Yeah, I'll bring you on. I mean, I know you now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know how you are in your mentality, so I've got no problem just bringing you on. Like, it's not because, again, like a lot of people come in, they're going to want to troll and do a bunch of dumb shit. I've got absolutely no sweat just bringing you on, saying, "Yep, you're good," and just throwing you on the panel. So
trolling. Don't give me any ideas now.
well, I'll accept that too. If you want to do that, I'll accept that too. But honestly, man, like it's been cool. It's been cool to get to know you at this level, and that's the whole reason why I want to start doing this. A lot of people in my community are like, "Hey, I like deeper conversations. I like to go down rabbit holes instead of just going, hey, what's going on? Let's grow your channel. What are you about? Let's promote your shit." Like I don't get that. And I guess this is kind of selfish. I don't get that satisfaction. Like I want my brain to be challenged. Like I want to see different things. Like I want to know how people think. Like these kind of conversations are very hard to come across in the real world. And that's the whole reason why I developed this. So I want to bring people in that think the exact opposite as I do. I want to hear it. Like I want to, like, why do you think like that? Like, what is your basis? What is your thought process? Like where are you coming up with this? Like, I want to hear that shit. You know.
I don't know if you're gonna get that from me because we agree on pretty much too much. Just to simply.
I'm gonna bring you up as backup so we can kick some ass.
Right.
Like, angry. I don't know how to answer this question. That's all you. Like do this shit. Like what's your answer, right? So I just thought the pen on to you.
All right. So yeah. I gotta go. So
shit.
great.
All right. Well, I think I just removed you. Good night, angry vegan cyclist.
All right.
Good to have you on.
See you around, man.
All right. Good night, brother. Have a good night.
You too, man.